Welcome to the world of TrendPod AI, your guide to understanding the complex forces shaping our world. Today, we turn our attention to a story of immense global significance: China's spiraling debt crisis.
Beijing is grappling with a mounting debt crisis. 54 trillion at the end of 2022.
This is the story of a huge change in the Chinese economy.
Unrest is growing in China. Fresh protests have broken out in major cities with hundreds rallying, chanting.
On the surface, official figures present a picture of control, with a debt-to-GDP ratio seemingly below 100%. But peel back the layers, and a far more alarming reality emerges. Unofficial estimates suggest this ratio is closer to a staggering 300%. This isn't just a statistical discrepancy, it's a colossal $54 trillion hidden debt, a debt bomb waiting to detonate. In this 10-minute deep dive, we will dissect how this crisis unfolded, explore the intricate mechanisms that fueled it, and uncover the critical lessons India must learn to safeguard its own economic future. Let's begin by grasping the sheer scale of this issue. By the end of 2022, China's hidden debt had swelled to an astronomical $54 trillion. This debt bomb is not reflected in the nation's official balance sheets, making it an insidious and unpredictable threat. The core of the problem lies in off-balance sheet borrowing by local governments. Desperate to project an image of robust economic growth, these entities have accumulated vast liabilities that are not officially recognized by the central government. This lack of transparency creates a dangerous illusion of stability, while the foundations of the economy are silently being eroded. To understand how this happened, we must introduce the primary architects of this crisis: the local government financing vehicles, or LGFVs. In China, local officials' careers are intrinsically tied to their ability to hit ambitious GDP growth targets. To achieve this, they needed to spend, but central government regulations placed strict limits on their borrowing capacity. The ingenious, yet ultimately disastrous workaround was the creation of LGFVs. These quasi-commercial entities, owned by local governments, were not subject to the same borrowing restrictions. They became the primary channel for funneling trillions of yuan into the economy, all in the name of growth. The fuel for this fire was land. LGFVs used vast tracts of government-owned land as collateral to secure enormous loans from banks and other financial institutions. This capital was then plowed into a frenzy of infrastructure development. While some projects were undoubtedly beneficial, a significant portion was driven by the need to inflate GDP figures rather than genuine demand. This led to the now infamous phenomenon of ghost cities, entire metropolises built from scratch with sprawling residential towers, gleaming office blocks, and state-of-the-art infrastructure, yet eerily empty, with millions of unoccupied housing units. This system created a powerful and deeply entrenched vicious cycle. More construction led to higher GDP figures, which in turn resulted in promotions and accolades for the officials responsible. This incentivized even more borrowing and more construction, creating a bubble of epic proportions. But this house of cards was built on a foundation of unsustainable debt. The tipping point came in 2021 with the spectacular collapse of Evergrande, one of China's largest property developers. This event sent shockwaves through the system, exposing the fragility of the entire model. The fallout from the Evergrande crisis was swift and brutal. With the property market in a tailspin, developers abruptly stopped buying land, which was a primary source of revenue for local governments. This caused their income to plummet, leaving them unable to service their massive LGFV debts. By late 2023, these debts had ballooned to an almost incomprehensible 60 to 66 trillion yuan, equivalent to approximately 8 to 9 trillion US dollars. The consequences for ordinary people have been severe, with widespread reports of unpaid salaries for civil servants and a devastating crash in property prices, wiping out the savings of millions of Chinese families. faced with a full-blown crisis, Beijing has been forced to intervene. The central government has implemented a debt swap program, effectively converting the hidden, high-interest debt of local governments into official, lower-interest government bonds with longer repayment periods. Additionally, state-owned banks have been instructed to slow down loan recoveries from struggling LGFVs. However, many analysts view these measures as a temporary fix, a way to buy time rather than a genuine solution. With a staggering 10 trillion yuan needing to be repaid between 2023 and 2024 alone, the pressure remains immense. As we conclude our analysis, it is the lessons for India that resonate most strongly. China's crisis offers three crucial takeaways. First, economic growth must be anchored in real demand, not artificially inflated by target-driven, unnecessary infrastructure projects. Second, transparency in government borrowing and spending is not a choice, but a necessity to prevent the accumulation of hidden debts that can destabilize an entire economy. And third, the incentives for public officials must be reoriented towards long-term, sustainable goals like job creation, productivity, and genuine improvements in quality of life, rather than short-sighted GDP figures.